It was October 26, 2022, a cold, quiet day in the small town of Center Township, Minnesota. Bryce Brogle, just 23 years old, had only recently returned from a long road trip across the country with his girlfriend, Cordelia Ilex. The couple had spent months traveling together, seeking freedom and escape. That afternoon, Bryce planned to drop off some belongings at a nearby storage unit, just a routine chore. He left the house with Cordelia's father, Michael Ilex. The facility was less than a mile away. Cordelia stayed behind to shower, but Bryce never returned. Hours passed, no texts, no calls, just silence. When Michael finally came back alone, he told Cordelia something bizarre. Bryce had been arrested. According to him, 2 unmarked cars had appeared out of nowhere. Men with flashing lights, no badges, no names, had taken Bryce away in handcuffs. There was no warrant, no explanation, just a vanishing. Cordelia was shaken. She texted Bryce again and again. "I love you. Miss you already. Please, are you coming back for me?" But she received nothing in return. 2 days later, she walked into the Crow Wing County Sheriff's Office and filed a missing persons report. What happened that night would unravel a web of lies, violence, and secrets buried deep within a family, and expose a chilling truth no one expected. From the moment he sat down with investigators, Michael Ilex's story didn't quite add up. He claimed he and Bryce had driven to the storage unit in his white Ford Escape around 5 p.m. After spending about 45 minutes organizing Bryce's belongings, they were just about to leave when it happened. According to Michael, 2 dark, unmarked vehicles pulled up. Men stepped out with flashing lights, not the red and blues of a police cruiser, but hidden strobes, the kind you'd expect on undercover cars. Bryce, he said, was quietly handcuffed and placed in the back seat. Michael was also briefly detained, then released. He couldn't say who these men were. No agency was named. No badges were shown. The details were vague, too vague. As detectives pressed further, deeper contradictions began to emerge. Michael said he hadn't seen Bryce's phone that day, but just 10 minutes later, he admitted he had taken it and thrown it in a trash can at a gas station. His reason? He claimed he feared someone might use the phone to track Cordelia. Investigators grew more suspicious. Michael spoke of Bryce in the past tense. He was, not he is. And while he insisted he only wanted to protect his daughter, he also revealed something more disturbing. He had previously threatened Bryce, warning that if he ever saw another bruise on Cordelia, he'd do something about it. Michael's account wasn't just falling apart, it was starting to sound like a cover-up. And then came a breakthrough. Michael's phone location data. It would lead detectives to the heart of a chilling discovery. As suspicion mounted, investigators secured a search warrant for the storage unit where Michael Ilex claimed Bryce had last been seen. What they found inside turned the case from strange to sinister. On the cold concrete floor, officers discovered a bottle of bleach with DNA from both Bryce and Michael. Nearby, faint blood traces. Even more chilling, the floor showed drag marks, long, smearing lines as if something heavy had been pulled across it. Investigators now had one terrifying question. Had this routine trip to the storage unit been a trap? Tracking Michael's phone location history, deputies followed a digital breadcrumb trail to a wooded area near Lake Edward. Hidden beneath a scattering of leaves was a patch of disturbed soil. It looked like someone had tried to disguise it, but not well enough. An excavation team was called in. As they dug, the truth was uncovered. Literally. There in a shallow grave was the body of Bryce Brogle. He had been shot once in the back of the head. A clean, cold execution. It was no longer a missing person case. It was murder. But this horrifying revelation wasn't entirely a surprise. Just 2 days earlier, Michael's own half-siblings had come forward. They told police that Michael had confessed. He'd lured Bryce to the unit. He'd used a sled, later found discarded with bloodstains, to drag the body into the woods. He even covered the grave with leaves taken from his own backyard. Michael Ilex had tried to erase Bryce, but now the truth was clawing its way back to the surface. As the investigation deepened, so did the darkness surrounding the Ilex family. Michael's half-siblings, Jen and Patrick, provided crucial insight. Jen recalled how, shortly after the murder, Michael confessed to her in chilling detail. He had shot Bryce in the back of the head inside the storage unit, Then, using a sled stored in the garage, he dragged the body to the woods. The same sled, later found in a ditch, was stained with a dried, red-brown substance. To hide the grave, Michael used a bag of fallen leaves taken from Jen's yard. But even as he tried to cover his tracks, he made one final call, a strange one. He contacted Bryce and Cordelia's old landlord in Washington State, asking if Bryce had ever harmed his daughter. The landlord was confused. He'd only ever seen the couple acting lovingly toward each other. Cordelia, he said, had shown no signs of fear. As police pieced it together, a haunting truth emerged. This wasn't a spontaneous act of rage. It was calculated, premeditated. Michael had lured Bryce to the storage unit alone. Cordelia wasn't there. He had time. He brought gloves, bleach, a sled, even a gun, one he claimed he just happened to have after dealing with vermin at a client's house. And the motive? That was harder to define. Michael said he wanted to protect his daughter. He claimed Bryce was abusive, controlling, manipulative. But Cordelia never supported that narrative. In fact, even as her father was being charged with murder, she continued to post memories of Bryce on social media, photos, poems, tributes. The more Michael tried to justify the killing, the more the world saw through him. By March 2023, the evidence was overwhelming, and Michael Ilex was formally indicted for first-degree premeditated murder. He took the stand at trial in 2024, and for the first time in public, admitted what investigators had long suspected. He had killed Bryce Brogle, but he insisted it wasn't planned. Michael claimed he brought Bryce to the storage unit only to provoke him into a fight, hoping to press charges and separate him from Cordelia legally. He just happened to have a gun. He just happened to bring bleach. He just happened to bring a sled. The jury didn't buy it. The planning, the cleanup, the disposal, it was all too precise, cold, intentional. Throughout the trial, Cordelia never defended her father's actions. Despite his claims that he acted out of love, she continued to post tributes to Bryce online. In one especially heartbreaking message from March 2024, she wrote, "I think about you and Bryce all the time. The court found Michael guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case left a deep scar, not just on a family, but on an entire community. It raised painful questions. Was this truly about protecting a daughter, or was it about control, ego, possession?" In the end, Bryce Brogle's dream was simple: a quiet life, a self-sustaining farm, and a future with the woman he loved. Instead, his life was stolen by the very person he trusted enough to ride with that day, a ride from which he never returned.